Cyberstalking. Are you a victim of cyberstalking in Washington state? Are you charged with cyberstalking in Washington state? Are you just interested in what cyberstalking means for Washington state? Well, if so, you've come to the right place. My name is Lance Fryrear, and I have a defense firm in Lynnwood, Washington, and we've been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. And we're putting out videos to help educate the public about different aspects of the criminal law. And this video is about cyberstalking. In this video, I'm going to cover three things. Number one, what is cyberstalking? Whether you're a victim or a defendant, what is it? Because it's a complicated statute. It's a complicated law. Number two, what are some common situations that we see cyberstalking come up? And number three, if you are in this type of problem, either as a victim or as a defendant, what are some things you can do about it? So if you find this video helpful, please like the video, please subscribe. It'll help me get this out to more people. And now I'm just going to jump right into it. And first, I'm going to talk about what is cyberstalking. And I've made about 60 videos so far, and I've never had to put on my glasses and read it. But this one, even I can't memorize. So bear with me. I'm going to grab my computer here and read you what it says. Cyberstalking is defined in RCW, that's the Revised Code of Washington, 9.61.260. It says a person is guilty of cyberstalking if he or she, with the intent to harass, so that's important, intimidate, torment, or embarrass any other person, you make an electronic communication to the other person or to a third party using any lewd, indecent, or obscene words, images, or language, or suggesting the commission of any lewd act, or if the electronic communication is anonymously or repeatedly annoying, basically, or threatens to inflict the injury on another person or property, or any member of that other person's family or household. So the exception is that if it would constitute telephone harassment, in other words, if it's a telephone call and you're calling someone a bunch of names, that's not cyberstalking, that's telephone harassment. If you are sending a message through Instagram or Twitter or text messaging or Snapchat that is threatening somebody, that is lewd, is repeated and anonymous at odd hours, that could be cyberstalking. So it's very broad, and it can't be a single message, which is pretty crazy because just hear how broad that was. And we're going to put the statute, we're going to link to the statute at the end of this so you can read those terms yourself. But you send one mean message to someone on Instagram, and that could be cyberstalking, or you receive a mean message that could be cyberstalking. Now, I've not really seen it enforced that way by the police yet, but take a look at this. It's very broad. And so what is the penalty for someone charged with cyberstalking? Well, in most cases, it's a gross misdemeanor offense, which means the maximum penalty is $5,000 and 1 year in jail. For certain cases, it's a felony. It's a felony if the threat that's communicated by electronic means is to kill. And it could be a felony if the suspect has a prior conviction of harassment versus the victim here, or by apparently someone named in a no contact order is what I read in the statute. So for the most cases, it's a non-felony, but still a gross misdemeanor is very serious. So number two, what are some situations where we've seen cyberstalking charged? Well, some situations would be, asking somebody, an underage person, to send them some photos that might be revealing. That's the lewd part, right? That could be other crimes also, like communicating with a minor for immoral purposes by electronic means, which is a felony, but that would also be cyberstalking. We've seen cyberstalking alleged with, repeated fake reviews about somebody's business. That one's harder to prove. We've seen that. We've seen cyberstalking with repeated text messages threatening someone. Again, because cyberstalking generally needs to be by some type of electronic means. It needs to not be telephone harassment. Although I think I could see some ways that the telephone's involved, text messaging, Snapchatting, other things. But the most common situations that we've seen charged, it's been pretty clear that's been repeated and harassing. I don't think the law enforcement in general is that interested in pursuing, a one-off that isn't very clear. So three, and thanks for staying to the end. If you're dealing with this as either a victim of cyberstalking or as defendant, how do you deal with it? Well, as a victim of cyberstalking, you're going to want to obviously collect the information. You're going to want to try to have as much proof as you can that you know who's doing this, and then you're going to want to report it to the police. Okay, but do your do your due diligence and make it as easy as possible for law enforcement to understand what's going on, because law enforcement's busy, and you don't want to run into a situation where you can't really show who did it. And so, just work on that aspect of it is usually a good idea. If you're charged with this type of offense, that is a common defense. It's like, how do you know, since it's electronic, how do you know it was me that sent it, right? And so if you're being investigated for this, it's best not to talk to police. And if you are charged with it, one of the defenses could be, well, how do we know it was you? Because it's so easy to spoof things or to fake things nowadays, right? Another defense, well, it might not be a legal defense. It could be a good thing to raise to the prosecutors. You might have been having some problems at the time. Maybe we need to get you into some counseling, some mental health counseling, or if there's alcohol and drugs involved, maybe alcohol and drug counseling. There's things that we can do to lessen the impact. So I hope you find this video helpful. Cyberstalking is somewhat newer to Washington State, and it's very broad. And even though we've been defending crimes for more than 20 years, we haven't seen that many cases. But it's a big problem, and it's probably a useful law. So if you find yourself facing this charge, feel free to give our office a call. Again, my name is Lance Fryrear. We've been defending this type of charge and crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years. We'll do everything we can for you, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.